If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Thursday night edition of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. It is September. It's almost the end of September. There we go. Turn up the headphones so the deaf guy can hear. It's September 26th, the year of our Lord, 2024. We're almost into October, folks. And Halloween. Will I be doing a Halloween show? Well, perhaps, if it happens to be near that time. And then October. Okay. We'll discover that October just goes zoom, zip-a-zoom, done, gone. Then it'll be November, and then November 5th, which is kind of what the show is about, but fear not, November 5th, then we're into Thanksgiving. And then the very next month after that is Christmas. Folks, we're 3 months away from Christmas. Less than 3 months away from Christmas. 1 day less. Can you believe that? Absolutely astounding. So tonight, I will be your fat host. I will be BZ, one each. Thank God there aren't two. And for the first hour, I will be regaling you with various tales about politics, buttery, political, good politics, because that's why you're here. And then hour number 2, Sackhead Shaun is going to be here. We're not going to do Twitter roulette. We'll do something kind of like Freeform Theater. Okay, I was trying to come up, I'll be honest. Okay, I was trying to come up with a name. Sackhead Shaun and Jersey Joe have this thing that they do called X roulette. And what they do is they just go over to X and they find something that interests them, a story, and then they take off running. And that's kind of what I'm going to be doing with Sackhead Shaun in the second hour. He couldn't be with us in the first hour because, like the good man that he is, he has family stuff that he has to take care of. I don't have a family. I just have dogs. I'm a retired guy. Time hangs heavy on my voluminous beard. By the way, everybody should know that with great beard comes great responsibility. And that's why I'm here. Oh, let me show you this. As a matter of fact, can you see? Do you see? Do you? This is BZ's new hat. And I just ordered 10 of them from a local hat maker. This is an Estonian hat maker. That's Maker for those who are interested. And he makes them by hand. It takes him about 2 to 3 weeks to make one hat. They're very expensive, as you might guess. But my hat maker has manufactured 10 of them. So I have them now as swag. I may go to another hat maker because I was hoping that the lettering in this was going to be taller and maybe a little bit wider, so it's a lot easier to see when I'm chatting with all the people that I love, and that is you right here in the saloon. So thanks to everybody. Simone says is already in chat. And by the way, let's do this. You know, you ought to jump into my chat room because it's this. Look, my chat room is the best chat room. It's plush. It's sumptuous. It's palatial. It's resplendent. Again, I say and have said many times, those are brand new sofas. Look at that fine Corinthian leather. Through those double doors is the finest restroom with granite countertops that you'll ever find. Look at the windows, the 3 windows in the center. Look how much light they cast into the chat room. And directly in front of everybody, you'll find, unlike this photograph now, there are M&Ms. The place is replete with M&Ms. And also on the far left, on that wall, you can't see it, but there's also a huge screen TV with which to see my show. What else? It only has one channel, my show. So please, if you would, jump into the chat room. And I remind everybody, it used to be, if you were at Blockbuster, there'd be something. Oh, I'm going to date myself. Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. How you doing? How you doing, BZ? Hey, good to date yourself. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming tonight. Remember, Blockbuster used to say, be kind, rewind. So I'm asking you tonight, please share the show while you're watching. That would be a wonderful thing to do. Also, if you happen to be on Rumble, please subscribe to the show. Pretty please subscribe to the show. Give me a nice old thumbs up. And you can watch the show a ton of places. We'll talk to Sackhead Sean about that when he gets here in the second hour. And we're going to go over all things SHR. SHR is really changing. So I have set the show tonight on autopilot, and I've sent it to Rumble, so you can watch the show on Rumble. And I'm trying, against my better wishes, I'm sending the show to YouTube. And for the first time ever, because it may work, it may not work, it may get my big fat ass kicked off. I sent it to Facebook. So that's an experiment. I'm not sure I'll survive it, but the new SHR and the other people, Sackhead Sean has come back, and of course, Jersey Joe is here. They're trying to reach more eyeballs. So essentially, I mean, you can get this show on Spotify. Yeah, we're on Spotify, iHeart, and as everybody else says, where good podcasts can be found. Good podcast. Nice podcast. Don't pee in the corner. Good podcast. Good waffle. So thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I want to start out with this. I asked Jersey Joe to be here tonight, and he could not make it. So let's give some prayers to Jersey Joe. And he is fearful that Hurricane Helene, which is coming towards him, he lives in Florida. He did live in Jersey, hence the name. but he's in Florida now, so he couldn't be here tonight. He lost power any number of times today. So if you would, let's keep Jersey Joe in our prayers and our thoughts and hope that nothing bad happens to his house. And speaking of bad things happening to your house, people have asked me to explain this, so maybe I will this one time. I customarily do, let's see. Yeah, that's up next. I customarily do this. Come on, producer.
The Bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com, Chicago Death Toll Update.
Let me stop that right there. One of the reasons people have asked me in the past, BZ, why do you do the Chicago Death Toll Update? Aren't you making fun of the people who pass away in Chicago? We'll be doing that in just a few moments. And my answer is, most all of everything that occurs in Chicago is self-inflicted. Now, if people have been saying, gun crime is starting to trend down a little bit, in many cities it is. In DC, perhaps. In Baltimore, no bueno, not so much. And in Chicago, certainly not. It's still every bit as bang-bangy as it was for quite some time. So the reason I guess you could say I poke fun at Chicago and that people dying is not worth poking fun at. The reason I do this is because leftists know nothing except race and sex. So essentially, I am hoisting them on the petard of their own creation. Because this is avoidable. And most of the people who are getting shot, the bulk of the people who are getting shot and killed in Chicago, are Black Americans. This is a shock to nobody, but I dare to say it because it's true. And I couldn't care less whether you like my paint job or you like the paint job of somebody else who happens to be in Chicago. I point this out most every show so that you can understand this place is a violent hellhole, of its own creation. And so with that, let us continue.
The Bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com, Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
This is from HeyJackass.com. HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. Chicago, the city of big shoulders and large gunshots. September to date, shot and killed 40, shot and wounded 202, total shot 242, total homicides 44. Week in progress, September 22nd to September 28th, shot and killed 6, shot and wounded 29, total shot 35, total homicide 6. Year to date, shot and killed 409, shot and wounded 1,932, total shot 2,341, total homicides 463. In Chicago, courtesy of HeyJackass.com, a person is shot every 2 minutes and 46 seconds, and a person is murdered every 13 minutes and 57 seconds.
The Bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com, Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
Now, let me point this out to you as well. I talked about on the last show, the city of Chicago wants to get rid of the shot spotter machinery. It's audio equipment that lets the police department know where gunshots are occurring. Now, the city of Chicago paid for this system, and now the mayor of Chicago has said, the mayor, Brandon Johnson, has determined that ShotSpotter is racist. So finding out where shots are occurring so that police can be sent to those applicable neighborhoods, that's racist. And Brandon Johnson wants to get rid of ShotSpotter, a tool that they paid for because it's racist. I don't know what the communities are called in the various areas around Chicago or in Chicago, but for whatever reason, ShotSpotters are not placed in the nice, Tony, upscale neighborhoods. And that's racist. Follow me here. Because they're not in neighborhoods that demand these calls for service, that's inherently racist by itself. So Mayor Brandon Johnson, the contract expired, and now they're arguing in the council with the mayor as to whether they want to continue with ShotSpotter. The mayor says no. The mayor says, by the way, if you guys on the council decide that you want to continue ShotSpotter, I'm going to veto that crap. Now, here's the interesting thing. ShotSpotter costs a lot of money, and all that infrastructure, those audio pieces of equipment, have to get transmitted somewhere. They need to be installed. They're on poles. That's a bit of infrastructure that Chicago has paid for. And they've decided they don't want to renew the contract because of its inherent racism. So Brandon Johnson has said, even if you decide you're going to continue that contract, I'm going to veto everything because of the racist nature of ShotSpotter. Now, let me point out the obvious. We'll get back to this story in just a second. I'm leading up to why you're going to be seeing this story. Who determined where these ShotSpotter stations were located? BZ? I know. The city of Chicago determined where these go. So the only people responsible for the racist nature of ShotSpotter are the people who designated to the company that this is where they want ShotSpotter to be placed. Are you following me so far? So now ShotSpotter does stand a chance of being eliminated. So Zoning Committee Chair Walter Burnett said the city council, the Chicago City Council, gains nothing by antagonizing the mayor, Brandon Johnson. So Burnett, the committee chair, has said, count him out. Do not count me in for the ShotSpotter veto. I'm not going to side with the rest of the city council. I'm going to side with Mayor Brandon Johnson, who wants to eliminate ShotSpotter because he believes, well, apparently, if you read this article, he believes that Mayor Brandon Johnson can make our lives a living hell. He's not going to back that effort because he says there's no benefit to antagonizing Mayor Brandon Johnson. So this guy, by the way, Walter Burnett, he's in the 27th. He was newly confirmed as chair of zoning committee. And he said today he wants to keep ShotSpotter, but he's not going to cast that very important 34th vote needed to clinch an override of Mayor Brandon Johnson's threatened veto. He's a peacemaker, you see. He believes himself to be a peacemaker. So the city of Chicago, I'm not going to go into the rest of the article because it's a bunch of crap, and you and I know it. But this guy is not going to antagonize the mayor because he thinks there's too much to lose. In other words, he could be kept maybe from some of those choice committees or maybe some of that choice corruption that the city of Chicago members always enjoy. By the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, this show consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and perhaps those of the guests. So this is what I do on this show. I opine. There it is. from the very beginning. So this is what you're dealing with in Chicago. This is the mindset of what you're dealing with in Chicago. And it's like, how do you compete with that? The answer is you can't really compete with that. You can't compete with the insane who see absolutely nothing wrong with continuing on the current path, which is that of insanity. Doing the same thing you have historically done, managers of Chicago, and expecting entirely different results. This will be a wonderful place. I can't wait. Chicago is going to be a wonderful, my kind of town, Chicago is. Let's do this.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
There have to be some happy stories around, don't there? Don't there? I bet there are. Here's one. New York Appeals Court appears receptive to reversing or reducing the $454 nutso million Trump civil fraud judgment. So what's the background on this? Judges in a New York appeals court, because that's where this was taken, New York, you can indict a ham sandwich in New York if that ham sandwich is conservative or a Republican or a libertarian or anything but a Democrat. Judges on a New York appeals court appeared open-minded and receptive to the possibility of reversing or reducing the 454, that's, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, leftists who are listening right now. Listen, kids, that's just about $500 million from the civil fraud judgment in New York Attorney General Letitia James lawsuit waged against former President Trump. So he appealed the civil fraud ruling and demanded that he pay $450 million. And the former president's attorneys called New York Judge Arthur Engoron. If you ever watched anything about this dude, he's a nutcase himself. He smiles at the most inappropriate. You know how you get nervous or maybe you're around certain people that have certain mannerisms about that, and you think to yourself, okay, this is not a person that I want to be engaged with in any kind of conversation or action, because this person gives off all the vibes that they're creepy as hell. That's Judge Engoron. So a 5-judge panel on a New York appeals court in Manhattan heard oral arguments on the appeal on Thursday, and the former president was not there. But apparently, this jury is in fact going to consider either completely reversing or minimizing that ridiculously, you can think of that in no other way than it's punitive. The attempt is to bankrupt as much as possible or get rid of entirely, wholesale, Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. Period. End of statement. Here's another happy story. This was great. I discussed this with Jeff Dunitz last week. Anxiety mounts as Lebanon reels from attacks. People across the country were avoiding their cell phones and unplugging baby monitors and laptops after 2 days of attacks on Hezbollah-owned devices that amplified fears of an all-out war with Israel. The fear spread quickly. And that's a happy story, because I want fear to spread quickly in Hamas and Hezbollah. Because here's what happened. Israel figured out a way to sell pagers and walkie-talkies and solar panels to Hezbollah and, to a degree, Hamas. And then, having sold them as communications devices to terrorist groups, somehow, we're going to hear this story. I don't have the story to tell right now, but somehow, some Israeli dude or dudette decided how it is, well, let's make some money on these dips, and as they are terrorists and continue to kill Israelis and innocent people, let's give them these communications devices, sell it directly and only to Hezbollah and some Hamas terrorists make a little bit of a profit on it. And then when we think that it's the right time, we're going to blow them up. Okay, that's one of the happiest stories that I can possibly think of right now. That's a wondrously happy story. Here's another happy story. The House of Representatives passed a bill blocking the Biden admin's attempt to require 2/3 of new cars to be electric within 2032. So, in an attempt to set new emissions requirements on electric vehicles, that was blocked by a bipartisan group of lawmakers on Friday. The EPA announced a final rule in March under the Clean Air Act to set new emission standards coming in 2032. Congress got together and said, I don't think so. We don't feel confident that that's happening. And by the way, apparently some Democrats were on that as well and voted, hence the term bipartisan, which frankly I think is a little odd. This is not in keeping with a good Democrat, yet apparently it was so important to some of them that they voted for it anyway. That's got to be a happy story, comma, Ford, comma, having lost billions of dollars on electric vehicles that no one is buying. Also, Volvo, I should point out, who decided and made an announcement at least a year ago, we're going all electric. They've now said, no, we are not going all electric. So, frankly, I got to consider that a really happy story too. Here's another happy story. Judge blocks. Hey, have you noticed a little bit of a trend here? Judge blocks New York Attorney General Letitia James from trying to silence pregnancy centers that promote abortion pill reversal. Okay, that's the critical word right there. A federal judge this week issued New York Attorney General Letitia James a preliminary injunction that bars her from taking action against pregnancy clinics that promote the abortion pill reversal on the grounds it would restrict protected free speech. Tell you what, I got to consider that a win, something in the win column. And then we had something very strange. Well, I've started writing again at bloviatingzeppelin.net. And here's my little piece in the blogosphere. I've had a blog since 2004. And usually it's where I post stories. I've been writing. I used to write when I was active, maybe at least one post a day, sometimes 2 or 3 posts. And I was very active on that blog. As a matter of fact, that's where I met Jeff Dunitz, which is kind of interesting. And by the way, in comments, look, in StreamYard, I'm getting comments from Sean Stroich. Hello and welcome. So good to see you in StreamYard comments. And maybe, just maybe, that means that all the other points in between, YouTube and Facebook, maybe they're still running too. In any event, what I wanted to discuss now, not necessarily about my blog, but the DOJ just recently came out and decided that, hey, you know what? It's kind of super cool to put a bounty out on former President Donald J. Trump. Though, you know, he's already had 2 really limp-wristed, kind of wonky, not really very effective assassination attempts on himself. But again, I've said it before on social media, and I'm going to say it again. The DOJ and the FBI are nothing more than the weaponized arm of the DNC and leftists. Corrupt, they are the epitome, the epitome of corrupt, anti-American terrorist organizations. Now, maybe you would ask yourself, what is terrorism? And that is defined as the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. To BZ, that sounds like the perfect definition of terrorism by the DOJ at the hand of the FBI, which of course is the weaponized arm of the DNC and leftists. And with that, hold that thought. I'll be right back after this brief break. You want to go to the restroom? Now's the perfect time.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
Unleashed Jeremy Hansen, the most explosive pro-American podcast on the planet. Pro-MAGA, pro-Trump, pro-conservative. Come join the resistance. Fight for what really matters in America. 5 p.m. Central on UJHLive.com, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or MAGAbook.com. Come join the resistance and fight for America. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen.
Do you value yourself, your family, your friends? Want to know more about how to survive, thrive, and stay alive in these dynamic times? Listen to Around the Campfire with Kate, Thursday nights and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, only on PSN TV. That's Around the Campfire with Kate. News that nobody in the MSM wants to report. Remember, train hard, train smart to survive, thrive, and stay alive.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. He's back. Sometimes baby got back. Thank you for being here tonight. I was looking at some of the comments. If you get a chance, I would prefer, if I can convince you, to go to Rumble Chat, because basically I can only monitor one chat room, and I know that's kind of wacky, since apparently BZ, now you said you're sending a signal to shrmedia.com, and yes, I am. And you're sending a signal to Rumble, yes, I am. And you're sending a signal to YouTube, yes, I am, for a while, until YouTube decides to de-res me entirely. Not impossible. And I'm sending a signal to SHR Media on Facebook. Okay. That's 4 different places, 4 different chat rooms that I theoretically would have to monitor. Now, because this chat room happens to be right in front of me right here, someday I'll show you how this place is laid out. I've got a big 49-inch monitor all in front of me, and I've got 3 big pages that are set up here. And I happen to see that Sean Stroich is in the StreamYard chat, and I'm looking at Mike Pasqua, who used to be a commenter on the show since about up until about 2021. And then things changed because I changed and things changed and whatnot. So Mike asks, and it's a good question, and I'm going to answer right now. Oh, Sean Stroich, you're laughing because of a Jeremy ad, Jeremy Hansen. You may or may not know Jeremy Hansen is coming back. He's going to start his show. I have been trying to tell him, you need to get back. You need to get on the air. Some very concerning life issues have happened to him, and he's overcome a lot of them. And he has indicated that he wants to come back. So I'm all for Jeremy Hansen coming back. And if he wants to have a spot on SHR so that he can broadcast his show, I'm offering it. I've offered it to him before, and I'm offering it to him now. But Mike Pasqua had a comment in chat like, where did you go, BZ? And, well, that is a pretty good question. Gosh, I'm not getting to any of my topics today. That's okay. What the hell? It's my show. The answer is, in 2019 to 2020, I was living in California. Always spell it with a K. And I did the show from the SHR Media studios that were maybe a mile and a half, literally downtown Sacramento, that far from the locus of evil on the entire West Coast, the Capitol building in California, always spell it with a K, the Bill Mill. And so we really were adjacent evil. And with all the other crap that had been occurring, and then the stupid damn lockdown from Wuhan 19, myself and Mrs. BZ decided, you know what? We have both had enough of this crap. We have had both enough, more than enough, of this oppression and tyranny in this state. So we started looking seriously to abandon California and go to a free state. And I have not said for a while necessarily where that was. Now, in 2021, I sold my house. I had a cabin up at about the 4,000 foot level off of Interstate 80 in the Sierra Nevada mountains. In 2015, I was almost burned out. I watched a wildfire, flames about 150 feet or more across the Bear River from me. I was in Placer County. The Bear River is the dividing line between Placer County and Nevada County, which is where the fire was at the time. And it was coming for us. I was home. It's like one of those things where, okay, you have 15 minutes to make a decision. What do you take out of your house? Let's just say that was really uncomfortable. And let's just say I got splattered with retardant because the wildfire was so close. The heat was of a nature that, unless you have personally experienced a wildfire before, is pretty much unbelievable. It has noise all to itself. And basically, I'll just say frankly, it's frightening as fuck. Extremely frightening. I don't want that experience. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And that was it. It's like John Cleese in Silverado. You know, today my jurisdiction ends here. I've had it with this fucked up state. So I moved. Now, I didn't think I was going to be able to sell my house, because my insurance guy, when I called him saying, you know what, I'm moving. And he said, well, I hate to see you leave, but that's good because next year we're going to cancel your policy. We're no longer rewriting policies in wildfire areas. Thanks for the update. In other words, if I hadn't called him, he was not going to tell me next year, and I'll name them, farmers just decided, well, we'll just cancel your ass next year. We're not going to let you know it's coming. That was it. Oh, and PG&E. Good, happy, good-natured Pacific Gas and Electric. They have PSPS, something safety power shutoffs. And they kill your power. Now, when they kill your power, that's not so bad. When they turn it back on, they blow crap. And so after a PSPS from PG&E, which blew my TV, my microwave, most all the light bulbs in my house, my oven, my VCR. And then I contacted PG and said something similar to, I know this is silly, but you guys aren't going to compensate me for this, are you? Oh, not just hell no, extra crispy, go take a flying leap off a short pier. No. And that just confirmed I'm done with this stupid place. I was, despite that, able to sell my house. Praise Jesus. That house sold in 2021. Now we had to sell my wife's house, and we did so the next year. And that was in the middle of Ghetto Central. And again, we didn't think that house was going to sell. It was in a terrible neighborhood. I made the mistake while I was still employed of running everybody in that neighborhood for parole or probation. Most everybody in every house there, except for about maybe 2 on that street. One of them was mine. Were on parole or probation. And we went back, and another story, looking for a new rescue dog. And her neighborhood was 2 to 3 times worse, junked up than it was. So bad. We are so glad that we left. So we bought a house in late 2022 in North Idaho, an actual free state. And because we had 2, I'll be 74 this year. I'm not a spring chicken. I don't move crap as easily as I did when I was in my 20s and 30s, and neither does Mrs. BZ. And so it took us a while to move. We had 2 households. Normally when people get married, they consolidate their households and put everything together, and then they decide what they're going to keep, that sort. We had to do that after we got here. We tried to get storage lockers, storage facilities. They were all, couldn't get one. We finally got not one, we had to get 3 for the amount of stuff that we had. So that's my claim to fame, Mike Pasqua, and also Sean Stroich. And again, thanks for being here. And there's Mike in Rumble Chat. Thanks for being there. I appreciate that. Rumble Chat. I had a cat named Rumble Chat. Rumble Chat. Anyway, that's where I've been. I started the show back occasionally, now and then, since January of this year. Ideally, I wanted to be back to my regular schedule on Tuesday and Thursday nights. I'm mostly back to my regular schedule of Tuesday and Thursday nights, as I call them, select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights. And I've had any number of guests on, some of the guests that I've had before, some new guests. I am trying to get some new guests in the future. In any event, I'm in a brand new county. I'm in a new place called Kootenai County. It's in North Idaho. And it's one of those things where you look at yourself and you say, self, I should have done this 20 years ago. Well, I couldn't. I had a job, and I worked until 2016. That's 41, 42 years in law enforcement. No moron does that except a guy like me. But I couldn't do it while I was working. And then we had to wait an additional period of time because Mrs. BZ wanted to wrap up her career as well. And only with that could we leave. So that's a long way of getting around Mike Pasqua to saying, okay, that's why I have not been on the air. And of course, since then, I've lost every bit of my audience. I'm just now trying to pick it up. My best show so far, I had about 1,500 people on here. It's, again, topic driven. So I'm trying to get my audience back. SHR is trying to get itself back. In the second hour, when Sackhead Sean will be here with me, we'll just be riffing back and forth on all sorts of crazy stuff, because, boy, have I got some cuts to play. I wonder, I just like regular, just some things don't change. And that's, I never get around to all the cool stuff I want to do on the show. Sometimes 2 hours just isn't enough. And that'll probably be the case for tonight. So that was a long, circuitous route, Mike Pasqua and Sean Stroich, as to why it took me so long, why I was gone, where I went. And the coolest thing is, I took all my American taxpayer dollars with me to North Idaho. And I'm not paying crap to the state of California. Always spell it with a K, because they can go to hell. They're insane. But my job here as per normal is to point out just how incredibly insane they are. That's the story of my life for now. We'll go into different stories. I got 15 minutes left. Can I do this one remaining story? Maybe I can. Anyway, I said I was talking about the DOJ not only abides, but promotes a bounty on former President Donald Trump. How does that occur? So it's on one hand appalling, yet not appalling, that the DOJ essentially put a public bounty on the head of former President Donald Trump by releasing the letter written by second wannabe assassin Ryan Routh, where in essence he placed a $150,000 bounty on the head of Donald Trump. In a new federal court filing, it was discovered that Routh, however they pronounce his name, I don't give a crap, was staking out Trump for weeks. He had an SKS, which had, that's an AK-47 knockoff, had a scratched out serial number in a 7.62 by 39 round down the throat. The round for the AK-47. It's not 223 or 5.56. Plus, okay, so he had 2 sets of license plates, 6 cell phones in his car, one of which had researched escape routes from Palm Beach to Mexico. Well, there's no damn shock there. So Routh also gave some kind of a box to an unidentified civilian witness months before he attempted to assassinate Donald John Trump. It's just really strange. That box, according to the FBI, contained an additional 4 cell phones, tools, ammunition, pipe, metal, and a number of handwritten letters from this guy, Routh. So the FBI, then the DOJ, releases a photo of the first page of what they said is a letter written by this guy. Now, this is from zerohedge.com. Got to agree. Why did Biden DOJ release Trump assassins' $150,000 reward to complete the job letter to the public? Former President Trump's would-be assassin, Ryan Wesley Routh, wrote a chilling letter, and I'm going to display the copy here in just a moment, admitting he failed in trying to take the life of the former president and offering a reward for anybody who could finish the job. That note was addressed to the world. So let's see if I have a copy. Here it is. So to the world, it reads, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you. I tried my best and gave it all the gumption that I could muster. It is up to you now to finish the job." Up to you, meaning any nutcase similar to him. And I will offer, in the red right there, I'm offering $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Now, according to court papers, So he drops this box off at some person's home who hasn't been named that included the letter. And that's what the court documents state. So to me, having dealt in law peripherally, not as an attorney, but as a law enforcement officer, this portrays serious malice aforethought, as if that wasn't already apparent. This civilian witness took a photo of the first page of Routh's letter, sending it to the FBI 3 days following the interrupted assassination attempt. And so a photo of the letter was used in a federal court filing. So from the article, prosecutors found a notebook with dozens of pages filled with names and phone numbers pertaining to Ukraine, discussions about how to join combat on behalf of Ukraine. This is what Routh was pissed off about. He, the former president, ended relations with Iran like a child. And now the Middle East has unraveled. To the guy who has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Everyone across the globe, from the youngest to the oldest, knows that Trump is unfit to be anything, much less U.S. president. U.S. presidents must, at the bare minimum, embody the moral fabric that is America and be kind, caring, and selfless, and always stand for humanity. So that was Routh's gig. Ukraine. I'm not going to go into a whole thing about Routh. He was a lover of Ukraine, and the Ukrainians essentially didn't want to have a damn thing to do with him because he was nuts. So perfect standard leftist talking points blathered forth for years from the Biden regime and abetted by the American media maggots. The letter stated that Routh had failed to assassinate Donald Trump. And hey, here was $150,000 to anybody who could complete that mission. What the hell? What was going on? Well, let's find out.
Keep walking! Who said the note was left behind by the man accused of hiding out with a gun near Donald Trump's Florida golf course in an apparent bid to kill the former president. Ryan Ruth appeared in court on Monday and is charged with 2 gun crimes after he allegedly pointed a rifle through the bushes while Trump was playing golf at his course in West Palm Beach.
Of course, the deal is we don't really know all the stuff about that. The Secret Service is a cluster. Folks, have you noticed, really? I'm trying to minimize my F&S words these days to make myself maybe sort of a little bit more appealing. So in that story, which I'm not going to play because I'm running out of time, it's pushing time towards 9 o'clock. I got about 8 minutes to 9. I got about 8 minutes to 11 Central, and I got about 8 minutes to midnight Eastern time. And it's 1749.723.5, Grote Cluster 4, paragraph 2, drawer 5 in Bolivian time, but I could never understand Bolivian time. So at no point in that video, by the way, because I watched it all, did Reuters, that's where it was from, ever ask the question, why to the DOJ, release the letter with all those details? What is the public good or interest in that? At first blush and final blush, the deal is, though, it appears the DOJ doesn't mind releasing impetus for any number of further crazy units to emerge and claim fame and some kind of mysterious $150,000 bounty from a guy that didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, but he was funded somehow, somewhere, by placing Donald John Trump in any number of various crosshairs. What's the point? This is the point. This is from a guy that I follow, Matt Walsh. This is the most pointed paragraph about this that I've read in some time. They didn't release the Covenant Shooter Manifesto because they were allegedly, the DOJ, afraid it would inspire more shootings. And yet, within a week, they release a letter from Trump's would-be assassin, where he openly encourages more shootings and offers to pay for them. Let me show you this. So it's not leftists who are stoking fear, and it's Trump who is stoking suspicions about assassination attempt, raising fears of more violence, though Trump has been the subject of 2 assassination attempts up to this point. But it's not leftists that are doing that. Oh no, perish the thought. It's Trump. He's doing it. Apparently he wants to kill himself. How crazy is that? How nutter, full on nutter is that? This is also, this is why if you don't keep on top of this crap, you don't realize what an insane galaxy we're occupying right now. Even TDS infected former Attorney General Bill Barr said in a statement, this is a headline, former AG Barr dumbfounded at DOJ's decision to release letter of Trump would-be assassin. Bill Barr, it served no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. So when they released the letter on Monday, Barr, of all people, said he called that decision rash and serves no purpose. Why? He said, I was dumbfounded that the DOJ made public this morning the contents of the letter. Left with an acquaintance prior to the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Okay, now, as you well know, there were mitigations available, right? Because they're the DOJ, they're the FBI. They are the final determinants of what is released and what isn't. And Barr said, and rightly so, even if DOJ thought it was important to provide the letter to the court, it could have been redacted. It could have had the inflammatory material redacted or arranged to have the letter submitted under seal. It was rash to put out this letter in the midst of an election during which 2 attempts on the life of President Trump had been made already. All of a sudden, Bill Barr is flashing common sense. Where did that come from? That's really strange. I don't get that. Okay, because even Bill Barr knows how dangerous, under today's obviously heated and violent circumstances, the contents of that letter were. So he'll handle the water to a great degree of Democrats and leftists. But apparently there's even a line that he won't cross. And let me repeat what he said. Release of that letter served no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. Stopped clock, Bill Barr. Meet Bill Barr. Write twice a day. Therefore, okay. See, you have to look at this stuff. And you can't look at it singly. You have to look at it as a series of events and notice where things are going. You have to look for the commonalities, and you can't look at one event in a vacuum. You have to look at the totality of circumstances and how these things play out. So and this is how my little fetid, knurled mind thinks. As with the prior actions and inactions of the U.S. Secret Service that we have all witnessed, we've all watched, we've all seen, you can only draw 2 conclusions out of this. And if there's a third or a fourth or a fifth, let me know, because I only see 2. It's a binary conclusion. The first one is that the DOJ is utterly thoughtless and inept. Or, number 2, this was an absolutely intentional release. How else can you view this? I don't see any other way of looking at it. And I've got some people in the chat room. Sincerely Nuts is in the chat room, along with Mike. And Simone says, and thanks for being in the chat room. I got about a minute to go before the top of the hour and before I take a break. And then Sackhead Sean will come back with me after the top of the hour. So it's this. It's no secret, zero secret, that the alphabet agencies, most all of them, despise Donald John Trump with every little last fiber of their being and have been actively working against him, which means they have been actively working against the actual American people, you and me, since before Trump descended the stairs at Trump Tower in order to formally announce his candidacy for president. Said this since 2017, reaffirmed every year, and oh so clear now. It has been an ongoing and vigorous soft coup against a presidential candidate, a presidential nominee, a president-elect, a sitting president, and now a presidential nominee running for his separated second term. The goal is to eliminate Donald John Trump by any means necessary, up to and including assassination. Twice.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is he that is me, bringing perspective from across the sea. Join me, Jack Alexander, 4 days a week for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the news and issues affecting life and liberty here in the USA. I'll show you what the mainstream media refuses to. Politics, border security, defense, healthcare, travel, nothing is off limits. Catch the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast each Monday to Thursday on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere good podcasts can be found. Also, check out the website, www.jackalexanderexperiment.com.
Come listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, for the best in late-night conservatarian wireless talk radio at shrmedia.com. Raised as a free-range child with dirt and freedom, BZ is broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room at shrmedia.com. Now, with 18% more umbrage and 20% more bulbosity than previous shows, and with delicious Liberty additives. Remember, BZ realizes that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
After 6 years covering terror and corruption, the Unpleasant Blind Guy is making a change. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker and YouTube through SHR Media and on the Western Free Radio Network as I team up with Jeff Mitchell, host of the English Defense League radio show on blogtalkradio.com. Check show pages for airtimes. It's the Unpleasant Blind Guy.
On EDL Radio.
There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. I am back. Welcome back to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. I am the aforementioned BZ, one each. Thank you so kindly for watching tonight. Our sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room is in fact open. Hit live chat in order to enter. You can also watch the show not just on rumble.com, but also, let me see if I can go here. Oh, yeah, shrmedia.com. Go to shrmedia.com. I'm all over the place. He's nationwide. Hey, and I've got people that are in StreamYard chat. They have transmogrified and moved like a flailing ocean over to rumble.com chat. And with that, the act you've known for all these years, here is the Edge of Liberty, Sackhead Shaun. Welcome to Shaun. How you doing, sir?
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm just bulbous.
Yes, this is very true. I can absolutely confirm that.
What part of what I just said is factually incorrect?
Nothing.
Okay.
All of it
All
is
right.
actually true.
That's
you are incredibly bulbous.
I am. Bulbous. In our ossicles, we hear this cry of glory. Bulbous. What?
You know
I was going to sing a song.
No, I know, and I'm trying to save your audience from that.
Ooh, why to the moon, Alice. To the moon, Alice.
Hey, I'm just a guest here. You know what I did notice?
What did you notice?
Normally, and for those who don't understand how StreamYard works, but usually I come in as a guest, but because I am listed under BZ's StreamYard as I could broadcast here if I wanted to, and I could, but I have all of the controls in front of me, and I also have the ability to do this. Welcome to the Edge of Liberty. I'm just kidding.
Okay, that shit's not funny. All right.
I had no idea.
Do you understand? That shit is not funny. Not anymore.
I'm like, he foolishly gave me total control. What kind of a lunatic would
Well,
do that?
you're co-control creator, kind of co-control creator kind of guy. All right.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
Would it shock you if I were to tell you something similar to, you know what? Over here, I have all these tabs that are lined up for things that I was going to do before you got here. And Sackhead Shaun, how many of them do you think I got to? Give me a number. 10, 20.
No. I think let's see. You got to less tabs than I finger on my left hand, and I do have all 5. So I think that you probably got to 2, maybe 2.
1. Okay. All right. I did do heyjackass.com, Chicago Death Toll, and I did have some happy stories to regale to everybody. But at this point on, I have just a ton of silly shit to talk about. And first, I'd like to have everybody know that SHR is changing, and it's changing courtesy of that guy right there. But as I'm talking to you right now, it is that guy right there who has, hey, say hi to Leah in the background. I see her. Yeah. In any event, it's this guy right here who is benefiting from this guy having updated shrmedia.com. What are you trying to say? I don't know. Anyway, go to shrmedia.com. It's been newly revamped, not by this guy, but by that guy. And SHR, you are in fact listening to shrmedia.com. And I'm going to be telling you, okay, Sackhead Shaun, said to me something similar to, first, Sackhead Shaun and Joe somehow in a long, it was like 3 hours of chatting about what we want to do with SHR. And they kind of talked me through getting to chat. And so I could see Twitter. I got my ass kicked off Twitter because I made a comment regarding Martha's Vineyard probably 3 years ago. So my fat ass has been off Twitter for 3 years. Well, I kind of figured out a way when I was drunk typing one night to get at, because, hey, after the show, right? So
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know anything about that. You do not drink bourbon, not around this house. In any, so
in
they
large
kind of
amounts.
showed me how to get back because, if I wanted to be on Twitter, I had to go to the computer, which is right behind me over here where it says BZ Saloon. But I liked Twitter when I could do it on the phone. I couldn't do it on the phone for whatever reason. Twitter, X, recognized my phone. So Sean and Joe kind of figured out a way for me to get back on the phone, and now I'm the king of the world. I can rule all that I see. So I am back on Twitter at BZ's Saloon, at BZ's Saloon. So thanks to this guy right here for getting me back on Twitter.
You're very welcome.
And say, who says that I don't give props where props are due, right?
I've never
you
once said that. I've never once said that.
Literally, thousands and thousands of people have come in and have said that. So anyway,
well, and it's what's really hysterical about that is I was looking over your Twitter tonight and I said, if you want to follow a Twitter where you have to use a dictionary every fourth or fifth word, this is the one to follow.
What the? Again, okay, that's not funny because you're driving people away from my Twitter feed.
I'm just saying it's educational. It's educational to say the very least.
Well, thank you for that pseudo compliment. What I was getting to is that, so there we were. We had just gotten out of the stuck refrigerator, which fell off the back of a semi on I-95. Naturally. And as Crackhead Sean and I emerged along with Jersey Joe, they pointed out that what? They pointed out that AI was cool. And I wish I had them right here. So you guys loaded new logos for Edge of Liberty. And
yes.
So we're going to have you tell everybody about that show in just a minute. So you uploaded what I thought were 3 to 4 really cool AI generated logos of Edge of Liberty, your new show, which is on Monday and Fridays, featuring Edge of Liberty, who is Sackhead Sean at noon Pacific, which would be 3 p.m. Eastern. So Sackhead Sean, take it away about your show, Edge of Liberty.
Yeah, Edge of Liberty was around a long time ago. I know BZ, you definitely remember my first iteration. It was a AM show that I was doing during the day. It was actually out of Philadelphia. And hold on a second, because I just realized something that I can do too.
Oh, what? Can you put that in there? Oh, cool. If you've got it, yeah, I'd like people to see that because I'm going somewhere with this. I am going somewhere with this.
There we go. So yeah. That's my little logo.
I think that's a cool damn logo. AI generated. I looked at that and you guys showed me Reaver Common Sense. Jersey Joe had a new logo that he's using, and I thought, damn. I literally went, damn. These are cool.
You get a refresh every once in a while, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the occasional refresh isn't bad. I'm a fan of my alternate logo too, which I'm going to share before I keep going on my, what's the word I'm looking for?
Okay.
Flabbering. There we go. I think that's kind of cool. And two of the Patriot crossing the line. I thought that was kind of neat.
Good point.
A very,
Good point. I like that one too.
And I still don't know who the Roman guy in the toga is off in the edge over here.
That's kind of getting to my point.
But, I go back to there has to be some good to it. So anyhow, the Edge of Liberty, it was a show that I was doing Monday through Friday, actually, out of Philadelphia. I was on the West Coast and I was broadcasting on the East Coast on an AM station, and did that for about a year or so. And it just became too much at the time. I was doing Sackheads. I was making appearances with you. I was running SHR, same reason why I took the big break to begin with for a long time. And then kids and everything else. So when I started to come back, Jersey Joe and BZ hooked me back in, which is exactly what I said was going to happen, did happen when I started getting invited on a regular basis. So here we go. I come back and I said, I want to do something different. Obviously, Sackheads was my history, and Sackheads was kind of my flagship for a long time. And I loved doing Sackheads, but doing a solo show, it's different. Oh, hello. Sackheads had its own kind of je ne sais quoi about it, where I had 2 really good partners, and then 3 really good partners, and then 2 really good partners for a long time. And it's very easy to sit and bounce off of somebody else. And if you ever watch the old Sackheads, we covered a lot of serious stuff. We covered in depth. We had 3 great points of view onto what we were doing. And it was, I really think, I'm going to totally. Oh yeah, we drank absolutely heavily, especially when I moved into the studio, essentially. But considering where we started from with Sackheads and how SHR Media started, we were kind of the early chargers, if you will, into the podcast world. And a lot of people can say, "Oh, that's not true," but we started in the end of 2013. And there was not a lot of podcasts on there. The only podcasts you were getting are people that were already on the radio and stuff like that had the studio and stuff to cut podcasts and then upload it. We did a from scratch podcast, like from scratch. All the software is from scratch. It's not like now where everything's right there. It's preloaded. I'm not saying it's easy to do a show, but it's easy to get to do a show. And it wasn't before. We had, BZ will tell you, if you saw how many programs I was running at the same time, and God forbid if we wanted to have somebody call in on Skype, it was a whole nightmare. And I was running a board and I was pulling this line and adding this line. I had tablets and computers hooked up to the board. It was a lot, but we figured it out, and I was glad that we did. And, we had a really good run. So after I took the break and I stepped away from SHR, and Joe and BZ, essentially kept shoving the needle into me, trying to get me hooked again. I decided to come back, and at first it was, I'm going to do some behind the scenes stuff. And I started working on the webpage and all that stuff. And then, it's like everything else. The microphone was here, the soundboard was here, and I had a lot to say. So I said, I can't do Sackheads because it's just, it's not Sackheads, but I can do Edge of Liberty because I had 2 shows. I had another show called Mannerism, which was before the Me Too movement. It was all about being a guy. And you remember I had fighter pilots on, and, I had a couple special forces guys on back in the day, and that was fun. And it was just all about like guy stuff, bourbon, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, I'm a politics guy. I enjoy talking politics, follows in politics as much as politics drives me nuts. So I will test your brain. What's the famous quote from Ronald Reagan about one generation away?
Oh, damn it. If I'd known you were going to do that, I would have gotten a producer. Wait a minute. I don't know.
Do you have it ready?
Do I have it?
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
Exactly.
We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
Quiet. How do you love me now? Huh? How do you love me now, mister? Do you love me now? How do you love me now? You're asking for that, and all of a sudden I had it, and there it was. And this is what happened to you, okay?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yeah, very much so.
Exactly what happened.
It is what happened. So and where I came up with the Edge of Liberty, the name is, some people think that we're just balancing through liberty. And I didn't look at it that way, as because I ran with that Ronald Reagan's quote a little bit as to, we're always on the edge of tyranny, but as long as we can stay balanced in liberty, we have a fighting shot at remaining free. So when I say the edge of liberty, I don't mean that it's a tightrope or anything. I mean, we're literally always on the edge of losing that liberty and falling into tyranny. And I think that that's something that can't be overstated enough. And that's really where the name Edge of Liberty came from. So yeah, so now I'm just kind of doing shows, and a lot of it comes from social media and stuff like that, because I think with X and other ones, the pulse on the nation comes through very clearly, and there's some amazing tidbits of comments and statements from it. And just talking about
You are working the social media like a mother. You're working it and strangling it, and
I
and
am.
You had a nice garage. And you were
Oh, yeah.
social media, and then they told me how to get back to Twitter, and this is where I'm going.
X.
Okay, so you guys saw the cool logos that Sackhead Sean just put up for everybody to see. So the fat unit here thought, wait, now if they can do some logos, maybe I can do some logos. So I decided that I was going to do two types of logos, one for the show and one for SHR. So I had, like, I don't know, this one came out for SHR. It was okay. Not bad.
No, it doesn't really fit the feeling of SHR as a network, right?
Yeah, it didn't really jazz me that much. And then I did this one. Not bad if you don't mind black and white. That's okay.
Yep. And for your listeners, before you go jumping all over the place, remember
I am
that
jumping all over the place.
Remember the 20-minute conversation I had to have with the old bastard to explain how it worked and how you needed to communicate with it, and that you couldn't just yell at the screen, show me a picture.
Bless you. God bless you. You just minimized it to 20 minutes. The truth is, it took about an hour. So again, that's why you're getting a Christmas card for Christmas at Christmas. That is to say, a Christmas card. So then like I said, I tried this one. That wasn't bad.
A little bit. It starts getting closer, a little warmer, right?
Closer. It's getting a little closer. And then I already did that one. Then this one, that wasn't. It's a little ostentatious. I was doing the wings microphone kind of thing. All right, not that bad. And
it wasn't bad. It was a little.
No, it wasn't bad.
Like
there have been worse.
Yeah.
And then I did this one.
Much better.
I kind of like that one.
I really like that one, actually.
Like that one. And I'm going somewhere because I'm showing you the good stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to and I found this one.
Right.
I kind of like that one too. Now it's weird because they'll do these in different styles.
Right.
Like this is kind of cartoony.
Yep.
And this one was more detailed. You don't know what you're going to get.
If the American flag pattern was in the wings, that one would actually be fantastic. The less cartoony one.
Oh,
if on the wings
that one is not bad. Yeah,
that would have been great.
But wait, then
there's more.
Then I decided, hey, why don't we do something for the saloon?
Actually, what he decided was, hey, I'm drinking. Let me start messing with AI while I'm drinking. Go on.
Okay. All right.
And I knew you were drinking by how you were texting me.
Alcohol may have been involved.
Yeah.
Sure. Not saying, not cementing it into the conversation. There may have been a little bit of a hint. By the way, it's like potato water. It's like the rest of the vegetable kingdom. They're not doing anything. It's like
they're not even
what
trying.
The hell? So this is my first.
You say that, but corn,
some
good
bad.
bourbon.
Not bad. Okay, so I will cede that. So this is my first.
I really wish I was in the room with the old man playing with technology.
This is my first attempt, and where this came from, I don't know. Why did they think that George Clooney and a kitten on my shoulder was BC's saloon?
Please leave that up. Please leave that up.
I sent that to you.
I want to know what you prompted that with. That had to be like old guy with the beard with the cat, and there had to be angel wings. I see angel wings being a constant theme in yours.
I was looking for wings to be like eagle wings, like wings of power. What I discovered is that AI, at least through Twitter, they don't get angel wings. They don't get wings of power. So then I got to do this. Then I got this one.
Okay. That one's actually getting closer.
It's a little bit better. Oh, but wait, it devolves after
and
this.
It does show you. It does show you though, like when you tweak your prompt just slightly, how much variation you can get. Because I've kept the same prompt and I've re-entered it a bunch of times, and it stays relatively in the same ballpark.
Yeah,
but if you change a couple words, you start getting stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, what I discovered is that AI has no concept of two things. What is a bobcat and what is berserk? It never once spelled berserk right. Not once. So then I continued. Well, it gave me
one of the things I noticed too is if you do small, that's kind of awesome. That is kind of awesome. So
it's like
down the bottom of that, you see how it doesn't make any sense in the wording?
Yeah, Tatak Mercedes?
What?
And again, it's a cat, dude. On the left, it's a gray cat.
It's a
I don't know what
regular
the
old
right
cat.
thing is.
So, and as I'm looking at that, hold on, put that back up on the screen. Don't you go pulling that away that quick. As I'm looking at that, I'm trying to picture the prompt, right? First of all, the amount of fingers on his left hand and how some of them are facing the wrong direction is amazing.
Like, what the hell happened to that guy's left hand?
But then at some point, I'm guessing that it misunderstood old man with the beard to old cat and a man with a beard. That's the only thing. And then a bobcat, it was like, oh yeah, let's have a bobcat coming out of his wings.
Yeah.
Because why not have the wings?
Of course, yeah. And then from his left hand, let's have regular fingers intermixed with fingers that make no sense whatsoever. And then the title, some claws.
Look at the title too.
Yeah.
BZ's. No. Up top. No. It's BZ's.
BZ's. It's right. It's BZ's Saloon. You can't write this. I'm sorry. You can't write this. So then I got this one. A slight difference. I couldn't tell you what it was that I was entering. Nasty cat yelling. Mm-hmm. They spelled BZ's Saloon correct
properly,
but it was a nasty cat yelling. Okay, but wait, there's still some more.
The cowboy hat makes that one actually.
Yeah. Do I wear red cowboy hats? Well, apparently I do.
Or you should be.
And then I yell a lot, and the cat yells a lot into the microphone, and we yell together.
The cat Clyde
together.
Clyde is always yelling.
In the back.
Yeah. The Clyde is always yelling. Oh, there's Clyde yelling again.
Yep, there he is. So then there was this one. Okay.
That one's
where'd the demonic eyes come from?
Oh.
And look, if you look, the top teeth, they're fangs.
Oh, yeah.
The canines are fangs in that one. So I did not put, give me some thin old dude with a red hat and fangs. So then it mellowed out a little bit, and then I got.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. I love AI.
But it was
Grok is so much fun, man. It is so much fun.
I have fun doing this. So then,
thank you, Elon.
It got a little better.
We're doing a whole show on logos.
I know, and AI. So because I can, it's my show. So
this is actually I like that one.
That one's
not gonna lie. Yeah, it kind of, Clyde's got glasses, which is a little, and for those who don't know, the bobcat that sat in the studio for years that BZ had, it's a stuffed bobcat. I know he still has it at his house.
Bobcat.
It's a real bobcat, and we nicknamed it Clyde. So when you hear me say Clyde's this, Clyde that, I'm talking about the bobcat, but I actually like that one. I think that one's kind of cool. It's different. But it really sums up the show a little bit better. There's the cocktails, BZ Saloon. There's the cat.
Cool.
There's
cat.
not an angry old guy with a red hat, but and then the wings. So I think it's pretty good, actually.
Not bad. It's starting to wend its way towards the proper placement. Then there was that one.
A little bit
SHR
better.
Media,
Still a kitty cat.
and the bottom right, SHR Media, Dracontarks, Dracontarks.
Flurkin. There's a lot of like draconic I don't know what the language would be. I don't want to say it's like demonic because it's not. It just seems like
it's just kind of
it's like an elf language.
Yeah, I tripped and fell into a deep cave in Estonia, and on that, I'm going to go to a break. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Southern Sense is conservative talk with Annie, the radio chick you bellows as host, and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific, on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hi, this is Eric Thompson. Please check out my new weekend review show, For Liberty's Sake, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Check out forlibertysake.com.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ooh, that's a little hot. Let's turn that down a little bit. Welcome back. It's the final half hour of the show. And I forgot to put this up. And that's this. Now's the time to hit the electric winkle chamber, or you order a drink. Order one more drink, because pretty soon this is going to happen.
Folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
And with me tonight is Sackhead Sean. And there he is, Sackhead Sean.
I'm actually... Go ahead.
Yes. No, you go ahead. No, me go ahead. I go first. Can I go first? I'm going to continue with this because I have a few left. I think I did this one. You know, the kitty, and there's some few drinks, and Fort Hall's Unifil, and some strange things down in the bottom lower right, Dracontarks, whatever those are. And then that one.
That's actually awesome.
That one's not bad.
It's not bad at all. I actually like that.
And the reason I like it, it's got beer, it's got drinks, it's got the microphone, it's got the cat whose left paw is wrapped in velour. I don't know. It's got a spilled drink, and it kind of sort of has the cat has I guess some tufts at the top of the ear. So not bad. And then there was this one. Now I'm see. I'm going to add some lettering to that.
I think that's a good one.
I kind of like that. The graphic is good. It's like one of these things where the mic, the background and the mic and the cat are a lot more detailed, and that's why sometimes you get things that are not very detailed like that or like that.
Right.
And then sometimes out of AI you get that, and I can't figure out what motivates it to do any of that stuff. I got me no idea, sir.
I don't know either. And it's funny because, Joe and I have very much like the same taste in our graphics and stuff like that, and yours is eclectically different. So I always laugh and enjoy seeing yours because it's like I never in a million years would have gone that way. And it's not that it's wrong. It's just not my mindset. You know what I mean? And I love them. I love all of those. I think all of those would be great for your show in one way, one form or another.
Here's what I didn't get. Okay. I was looking somehow you were able to get the Revolutionary War soldier.
Oh yeah.
You got the guy kind of standing on the hill looking over, and he's walking sort of a tightrope kind of thing. So I said to AI, graphic or logo, Minuteman, Revolutionary War soldier. I think I added American flag and shrmedia.com. I didn't get any. I got something that looked like some kind of a bastard stepchild from Dracula. I can't figure it out. How did you get that?
I put in the same thing, but I ran it through, and I'm going to pull up the logo you're talking about. I ran it through probably 100. I don't want to say 100. That's probably a little bit much, but 30 times. I ran it through like 30, 40 times till I got the two that I really liked. And then I had to take a break for the rest of the night. And I'll show you one right now. Hold on. I think
you got a new one?
No, I'll show you one of the ones that you're talking about, though.
Okay.
Let's see. Wow, I like this. I really like being able to do this.
It is fun that you can put things up on the screen for people to see.
So that
yeah, right. That one. See, that's a good one. That's a great hat.
Grizzled old man.
That's stylized.
And it's got the blue. It's hard to see, but it's got the blue for the Revolutionary War uniforms with the red in and a little bit of the white, and then the American flag in the background. It's very monster movie text. Yep. And it's got that monster movie kind of text to it. And then the other one that I got from when I was working with the AI was this one. Hold on. Where is it? Right here. Tricorn hat. You kind of got get the fact that guy's on a battlefield, right? I mean, that's a revolutionary one way or the other. No matter how you look at it, that's a patriot. That's a Minuteman. That's something. Yep.
That's perfect because it gives SHR Media. It gives that hat is instantly recognizable. The coat is recognizable. The torn flag is perfect. That's recognizable.
And it's also gets a little bit of shadowing in the black, so you can actually make out a little bit more of the just the uniform, which I think is really cool.
Well, it was, I got to say, it was a job really well done. Now that we've displayed AI stuff.
Hold on, because I have one more AI while we're on the air.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, good.
You always tell everyone to go to the electric winkle chamber, right? And I said to myself, I wonder.
Oh, did you do that?
I wonder what Grok.
Oh, you bastard. I should have done that myself.
Is the electric window chamber, winkle chamber, and it showed me this.
Well, keep one's pee-pee out of the... Don't let the streams cross.
Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you really want to use it. I don't know.
That's okay. I'm going to have to look and see what I get from electric winkle chamber. Oh my God. I want to play this. Because mostly for the rest of the show, I've got just some crazy ass videos. Here's this one. I want to play this one for you.
So if I was like hiring and I saw pronouns, here's what I'm going to assume. You're obviously very liberal.
Yep.
So I'm going to assume you're one of those people that super far left. Hey, I'm going to assume you're not a very hard worker. You are either a female or you're a probably not straight guy. So everything in the office is going to have to cater to you,
Bingo.
Your feelings, your needs, and your
Bingo.
emotions. So everyone around you is not going to be able to be themselves and walk on eggshells. Why would anyone want someone like you unless everyone's like you in a work environment? You're going to be the laziest person. You're going to be the most entitled, complain the most, and I think you're going to be the first to sue. So shocker that pronouns weren't helping you guys. Sorry, is there anything I missed there?
Facts. That was straight facts.
Okay, that's enough of that. But it is straight facts.
It is 100% straight facts.
I'm going to go over to, go ahead.
One of the things too, there was, I forget which rag it was that put, it might have been the New York Times, I'm not sure, but somebody put out an article, why woke is dying and that's a bad thing. And it was on X, the post was. One of the things you have to do on X, and you probably, I don't know if you already do or not, when you see a post like that, read through the comments. Because the amount of insane, unhinged, amazing, beautiful, incredible, and just delicious comments that people make at posts like that are just, it's just gorgeous. You have to go through the comments. It's so worth it.
It's mind blowing.
Oh, I just spend so much time just sitting there watching. I'm like, man, these people really just, I wish I was that intelligent sometimes. Like, I wish I was that quick.
They're nuts. They're flipping nuts.
Oh, it's great.
They're great things. This ad, I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have because I copped it from X. This is probably, I don't know, the best political ad I've seen. This is from a dude that is running for Virginia Senate.
Hung Kao?
Hung Kao. Check this dude.
This is the scariest sound you will hear when you live in a communist country. This is the last sound my parents heard when their fathers were taken away in the middle of the night, and they never saw their loved ones again. That's the sound of losing your freedom, the sound of always living in fear. That's my family's real life story. We escaped from Vietnam just days before Saigon fell to the communists. We were given a new life in the most generous country on earth. America saved my life. I graduated from the United States Naval Academy. I earned a master's in physics and fellowships at MIT and Harvard before the left replaced merit with racial quotas. I spent my life trying to repay my debt to America, my country, our country, with 25 years of service in Navy Special Operations, combat in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Somalia. But now our country has taken a dark turn. That's Joe Biden's Justice Department sending 24 armed agents to arrest a pro-life activist in front of his family. That's Joe Biden's IRS raiding a gun shop and seizing thousands of records from law-abiding gun owners, our names, our addresses, our social security numbers. That's Joe Biden arresting his challenger in the next election, a former president of the United States. And now a different sound. That's the sound of someone breaking into your home or business. The sound of crime destroying our cities and communities. That's how it all starts. They let criminals back on our streets. Millions of illegal immigrants pour across our border each year, including military-aged men from all over the world. And enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, and child in this country. And the Biden family? Well, that's how it works in a dictatorship. The rules don't apply to the rulers. We are losing our country. You know it, but you also know you can't say it. We're forced to say that wrong is right. We're forced to lie. We can't let that happen. I've been all over the world. Believe me when I tell you, if America fails, there's nowhere else to go. I'm Hung Kao, retired Navy captain running for the United States Senate. I still believe America can be the land of opportunity. I have an obligation to fight back against those who want to control our lives and disrupt our families. We need real fighters, not politicians, not bureaucrats, not keyboard warriors acting tough in a custom-made suit. No, not here in America. We must refuse to be intimidated. We must be fearless. I'm Hung Kao. I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message because I'm not done fighting for us.
There's a reason his name's Hung.
Isn't that, don't you think, probably one of the best political ads you've seen, maybe ever?
Yeah, it's right up there.
The dude is a stud.
Yep. There's a reason his name is Hung. Yep. He was named Hung for all the right reasons.
He nails it. It's truthful.
Yeah.
And if that guy doesn't get elected to Virginia, that's a terrible thing. But
it's a loss.
I had to play that, and I had to get your opinion on it.
Well, and he hits every point that's wrong in America right now. And there's so many other ones that he could hit, but he hit the big ones, right? He hit the ones that are hitting people where they live. Every part of it. The out of control DOJ, the border, the prosecution of Trump, just all the things that we're constantly giving up under the guise of it's the nice thing to do or the right thing to do or whatever. He's nailing it and saying, look, I've been there. My family's from there. You don't, it's voices like that. And it's so funny when they're like, oh, the right hates immigrants, but no, I love immigrants. Guys like that. Lily Tang Williams, a friend of your show and the network. You have folks who saw what happens when freedom and liberty is not present in a society, and they want anything but to not go back to that. And if that doesn't move you, I don't know. You got to go check your emotions.
I know that's absolutely 100% true. Now, to close the show, Sackhead Sean. Yes. I have some things that being in California you're familiar with. I don't know if you've heard this. I have two to play.
Okay.
But let's just step right into them and play them. There's this one. Oh, look, it's Hillary Clinton.
So your husband flies to Epstein Island 27 times. Then they arrest Jeffrey Epstein, and then you kill him. Just like that. You bribe the guards, you turn off the cameras, and then you choke him to death. Will you be choking Puff Daddy this time around?
Right.
So how are you planning on doing it?
Well, I wanted to choke him at night and make it look like a suicide, just like Jeffrey Epstein. But then I realized Puffy might actually enjoy that. So, maybe he slips on the shower. Maybe he chokes with a piece of fried chicken. I still haven't decided yet.
So your husband flies.
That's perfect. I'm sorry. No, I'm not I'm not sorry.
Sorry.
Fuck it. That shit is funny. Now, tell us your brief tale. Because, I've got another one. I've got another one coming up. Now,
yes,
those people, I had to wipe my nose because that one actually made me laugh. If I'd been drinking anything, that shit would have come right out my nose. At high pressure,
100%.
High velocity, high pressure.
That was fantastic.
So tell people, though, what Newsom has managed to do, because I have another one that's almost every bit as good.
So, and I wrote about it on shrmedia.com. If you go through all of the problems that we have in California, the homelessness, the crime is through the roof. The state's actually bankrupt. And they could say, oh, we're not bankrupt, but they are.
They are.
They're getting so much pushback on Prop 47 and AB 109, which you and I are both very, very familiar with, which are the crime bills that essentially open the prison gates and then stopped making things illegal for the most part. And they're getting so much pushback on that Prop 36 has a 72% approval rate in the state right now, and the numbers are rising so much so that Gavin Newsom said, I don't even recognize the state anymore, which tells you how out of friggin' touch he is, right? He said that at a press conference.
Wait. He actually said that.
Yes.
Gavin Newsom said, I don't recognize my own state anymore.
Yeah. So So what does he do? Obviously,
That's
it's been building up to this because he passed us a little piece of legislature that would stop a little bit of crime that he thought would absolve him of Prop 36 and that it would go away, and it's not. So he did the next best thing that he could to stop these criminals from hurting people. He outlawed satire and memes. In California, he passed and signed a law essentially saying if you do deep fakes, if you do memes that are too close to home, and essentially if you question power whatsoever and you do so in a way that is satirical and or mockery, essentially they will come after you. And it's not a criminal offense the first time, it's a fine. I think it's a civil infraction. But the simple fact of the matter is, and it's funny because 2 days later, Hillary went on the air and said, oh, there has to be some sort of consequences for what people say on social media. AOC had said it a couple days after that. So the talking orders are out there. And what have I always said about California? California is the liberal petri dish for horrible democratic ideas that they throw stuff in there and see what mold grows, and then they try to disperse those spores all over this country.
Right.
And
try to infect everybody else.
Yes. And that is exactly what this law does. Is now, I do not think that this will stand up to constitutional muster. I do not think
you should mention that. Here's an article. Deepfake election laws are already being challenged in federal court.
Yep. And it's not gonna, it'll get dumped if it goes up to SCOTUS. But my favorite part about it is this all started over a deepfake that Elon Musk retweeted. He didn't even make it. He retweeted it. And then when Governor Newsom passed this law and he said something about Elon retweeted the exact same thing. And it was the same week that X was leaving San Francisco, moving to Texas. He retweeted the same video. And when somebody questioned the governor about it, he was just like, oh, we're going to have to take this very seriously, blah, 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 blah. What are you going to do? You're going to fly to Texas and have somebody cite and release Elon for a violation of meme law? Get out of here.
Would it shock you that I might happen to have that video?
Oh.
Ready to go. Hey, let's listen to what Gavin Newsom says.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year. We even ran out of U-Hauls. During the COVID pandemic, I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months. Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year,
that's what he's pissed about.
Messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals. Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot, and bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Science bless America.
Science bless America.
Okay, so tell me by not telling me that was one of the best videos everybody has seen here in quite some time. Holy mother of God, that was brilliant.
It's absolutely incredible. My favorite part about it is, and I go back to all the SNL characters that have ever played somebody and given the speech, given a campaign speech as whatever character. I remember what's his name? Oh God, he just passed away. The comedian who did Bob Dole amazingly. And I
Bob
also
Dole
think
doesn't want to do Bob Dole.
Dole, yeah. And gosh, everyone's gonna yell at me because I can't remember his name. He was absolutely hysterical. He also did the late night news there, Weekend Update.
Oh shoot.
Norm Macdonald.
Oh.
And
Norm Macdonald. Okay, I was thinking of some other guy. Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of Kevin Nealon. No, it's Norm Macdonald. And but you also, how many times have you seen fake campaign ads through the years being made up before AI showed up? You always had impressionists doing fake voiceovers. That's been happening for years. And the fact that he can sign that law with a straight face, and what that really is this hurt my no-nos, and I'm going to make a bad man suffer for it. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
It goes to show you. It goes to show you what a ginormous bitch Gavin Newsom actually is.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
no
very
arguments
true.
here.
Let me see if I have another.
He's probably watching me now. My door is going to get kicked in soon.
In 3, 2. Okay, let's do this. This will probably be the final video for the night. I'm so glad I went back to X or Twitter, because now I have access to this kind of stuff and great videos. Now, I can't play them big, and I talked about why that is. It's just because of the screen that I have. But
that's going to be the next training you get.
Yeah, that will be. Probably. So here's this from Cammie Cackler.
I was raised as a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people.
We have ambitions and aspirations and dreams.
The ambition, the aspiration, the dream. I started my career as a prosecutor.
I was a career prosecutor for most of my career.
Having a background as a prosecutor, I intend to create an opportunity economy.
Developing and creating an opportunity economy.
What I imagine and believe and call an opportunity economy. So I was raised as a middle-class kid.
I grew up a middle-class kid.
Okay, enough of that. Anyway, you can't write that stuff. Let me put it over here.
Do you remember Bob Newhart back in the 60s used to do some amazing deadpan stand-up?
Newhart was brilliant.
If you have a chance, go back and listen to it. But one of his best skits is that there was there was no Abraham Lincoln as we know him. Every candidate was so much alike that they had to they were all talking about the same thing, so they had to come up with their own persona. So they hire a PR firm to create Abraham Lincoln's persona. Abraham Lincoln was the person, but he had no persona. And so if you go through the whole skit, it's explaining oh, you can't keep taking your shawl off. You got to wear the shawl. No, when you write your speeches, you have to do it on the back of envelopes. It looks authentic, right? They're coaching him how to be Abraham Lincoln. That's exactly what's happened with Kamala Harris. This is all coaching. Every speech that she gives is pre-memorized. She's probably said it 400 times. Every answer at the debate, you could tell was a canned answer. She heard the keyword in the question, and she would just blur it out verbatim what she was told to say. All of her speeches are pretty much copies of one of another of another of another. How many times have you heard "unburdened by what has been"? Right? She tries these little quotes out to see what sticks, and none of them have. Not one of them have.
No, she's a parody of herself.
She is a parody of herself. Her using holistically 3 times in a sentence in the rule interview is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that.
It is great, but it's continuing with the proof that the queen of drivel, or she needs a drool cup every now and then. She still cannot manage to string a cogent sentence together extemporaneously, which to me, you see, opining as I do, this is continuing proof that the queen of drivel further received, she got the debate questions in advance from her good sorority sister, Lindsay Davis.
Look, if she
can't speak off the cuff. Can't do
if
it.
she didn't get them specifically, she got the topics exactly what they were going to be in what order they were going to be, and she was told, and they had a pre-memorized speech for all of them. If you go back and watch that, how robotic she was in her answers, and you know how she's robotic? Because so much of her hand and head motion stopped. You know, when she's just talking, she does this a lot, and she does this, and she likes to do stuff with her hands. Just real big, and not like Trump where he does, this, but that's like
he
her
does the
thing.
hand thing.
Yeah, he loves to do the hand thing, but she does the head bob, and she gets her hands into it, and she almost like children, shows you okay, and then we put these two things together. That's how she speaks. If you go back and watch the debate, which we did live, that was minimalized when she was rolling out her canned speeches. She did this a lot. She did the head bob, but she didn't do the full Kamala. She didn't go full Kamala on it. And that's how you know they were recorded because committed to memory, because she spent more time trying to recall it, that her natural mannerisms weren't there.
And even then, as you and I both pointed out, even then, because we watched it live and did the live show, knowing her material, she still had dry mouth all through
night.
the entire thing.
Because she was afraid she was going to screw up the speeches. And because if she didn't say the right one at the right time, it was going to hurt her. And she still came off awful. I don't care what anyone says. She came off awful. This Rule interview, holy cow. We finally get her to do an interview. And you look at it, she went to a friendly news agency with a friendly reporter that supports her, sat down, and then if you watch that speech, she tanked it. She was so out of sorts, and it tells you she can't even be authentic around her own comfort zone. It's like she was asked to go to mom's house. You can do this interview from mom's house. This is the safest place you can be, and she couldn't pull it off.
Okay, well, because I found something else to play, and this shouldn't surprise anybody. I was going to bow out of here, but I'm not, and I just want to remind everybody.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Which means that we're going to have a little bit of overtime, because it's funny that Sean brought that up. This was one of the things that I was going to
send me that stinger, by the way.
The what?
I can't find that stinger by itself anywhere in my files. Okay.
I'll send it to you because I have it as a separate object. Let me see if this is it. Okay, I think this is the one you're referring to. Let's play it and see if this is the one you're talking about.
We love our country. I love our country. I know we all do. That's why everybody's here right now. We love our country. We take pride in the privilege of being American.
This is Oprah, but still it's good.
Yes.
And this is a moment where we can and must come together as Americans, understanding we have so much more in common than what separates us. Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people.
Well, of course we are.
Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions.
Okay, let me stop right there just for a second. Note the CPL displayed, which is the canine puzzlement look, displayed by Oprah, as in, what the fuck are you talking about? Let me back this up.
Oprah had that a lot on her face.
Yeah. Okay, there's the CPL. There it is right there. And the reason I call it the CPL is, folks, and I want to make sure that I get this big. Okay, when you talk to your dog and your dog tries to understand you, the thing you get is the CPL. And this is a visual. So this is the CPL. Does your dog not do the CPL? The answer is yes. So there's the CPL from Oprah.
By character are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be. And we
Hold on, pause
believe
it.
in fighting
Pause
for
it.
that. That's how we came.
This is the Kamala mannerisms I'm talking about, right? She gets all big. She starts pointing. She'll start bringing her hands together. She really she'll do the whole head crane when she really wants to prove a point to you. And these are the ones that were absent at the debate. So go ahead. I want people to just pay attention to her body language.
Oh, yeah. It says a lot.
Came into being because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest
She
expressions
wants to stay unburdened by what has been
is
so bad right
the
now.
ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from violence, freedom
what has
to have
been.
access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be.
Such deep words. The freedom, Sean, to just be. Wait a minute. That deserves. Where's my producer? Producer. The freedom to just be. God,
Yeah.
I wish I could have thought of that.
Well, and you know what? I think this sums it up perfectly. And if you give me a second.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh, is this is what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Hit it, Bunky. How come I don't hear any? I don't hear any sound. I don't hear any sound, Sean.
It's just ridiculous. Holistically. I actually responded to her post, or I think it was her post when she posted this clip on her own X feed. And I said, who the hell? I think I said, who the fuck taught Kamala the word holistically today? Because now we're going to hear that all the way through the election.
Okay.
And I don't know who taught it to her, but they're really an asshole for doing it.
It didn't play. I didn't hear it on this end. Can you check and see that it's unmuted and play it again? Because I do want people to hear this.
My bad.
My
weird.
word. It's a gorilla.
Share screen.
Let's hear it.
Oh, I know what I
You
did.
got the spirit.
You can see it now.
And looking and assist
Can you hear that?
state local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing, and looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing and assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars.
Sorry. I holistically.
So,
Holistically.
Holistically, I wonder if she considered what she was saying holistically.
I don't know. And it's funny because holistically means in a way that deals with or treats the whole of something or someone and not just part of, right? So all she kept saying is we just have to look at the whole thing 3 times in a row.
Yeah. In case you didn't get it.
What she said was actually we have to look at the whole thing. The whole thing needs to be looked at, and we have to look at the thing as a whole. That's actually what she said when you break it down.
Good for her. You know, just it's like doing a speech. And I was told that how you do a speech is you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them, except you only do it those 3 times and not 75,000 other times.
Oh, God, it's just so ridiculous. I'm actually going to.
You can't write this. You can't write this.
And I don't think people are buying it. You know, you start looking at the polls, and I'm looking at Pennsylvania a lot. And understand, when Biden was in office, they said, oh, Trump was killing him in Pennsylvania. Trump was only ahead of him by like 3 or 4 points. It wasn't killing him, right? It was close. Kamala is now running, and she's like a point or 2 up on average. There's a couple of outliers where she's like 5 or 6, but there's also a few outliers where Trump is 5 or 6 up in Pennsylvania. So But what you're looking at, and people need to pay attention to, is you have the I don't want to admit crowd. We saw this in 2016. Look, Hillary was supposed to win. She was favored by what, 85% to 15% or something like that.
It was massive.
And we covered that. In this last election, look at the red wave, right? The red wave that wasn't. Republicans were up by and large, on average, to take the red wave with, it was like 75% or 65%. It was really high that the percentage was that they were going to do it, and they didn't. So polls are only good for so far. But then you look at the ground game, and somebody said, oh, Kamala's ground game's great. First of all, she has a state with somebody that she almost picked as a vice president, but he was Jewish, and that was his fault. And then it's a traditionally blue state. It only became purple in a swing state, what, 3 cycles ago, not that long. Because once the steel industry really started to die down in Pennsylvania and the mining really started to die down, people left the state, and then the Democrats started to come into power. That's what happened. So you look at what Scott Pressler is doing on the ground there. You look at how many Republicans, they're overturning county by county right now.
He's an amazing dude, Scott Pressler.
Yep.
Astounding guy.
And then I always say, okay, if it's within the margin of error, which most polls have them within the margin of error, I keep forgetting which way I have to turn with this setup, because my other setup, it was the other way. We're within the margin of error. That's only 3% on average. Yeah, I know. I moved my studio this week, and I was ass backwards in the other studio compared to what I am now. So I keep doing everything the wrong way.
Because it was behind you, right?
Yeah, it was in the other room and flipped around. And I brought it out here just because there's more room. But you start looking at the ground game that we have right now going on in Pennsylvania, and it's enormous. And then if you add in the I don't want to admits, which are still very much out there, and a lot of the and I forget who said it, it wasn't me, but somebody just, it was Lonnie. Lonnie said there's still a lot of people, a lot of black and brown people, as he said, who do not want to admit to their friends that they're voting for Trump, that are voting for Trump, and they're hearing it more and more and more. So I don't think Pennsylvania. Oh yeah.
That's you're doing that. You're saying that made me do this article. This is what I was going to talk about tonight, and this is a big fear. Democrats are afraid that pollsters are overcounting themselves, and they're not taking into account the people that are really actually voting for Trump.
Yep.
They're scared. There is some fright involved in this. And you brought up that point. That's an excellent point. Right here on the Hill. Wait a minute. Right here on the Hill. Backwards. Sorry.
Well, and we've ran into this. We ran into this when Biden won, but we also ran into this when Hillary was running. They overinflate these polls because they want people to feel hopeless going to the polls. They want them to go, it's not even worth it. She already won, so why should I bother go and vote? And I'll tell you right now, if anyone lives in a state where voting is useless for the most part on a federal level, it's me. But I'm still going to go, because the other thing that I think people are underestimating, and this is a gut feeling, so just before anyone says, well, do you have any proof? That's my favorite thing. When I say, I've been watching the polls and this is what I feel on X, somebody hit me with, well, what proof do you have? Okay, well, I had feeling, first of all, and it's from years of watching this and seeing what pollsters do right and wrong. And then I went through and I put all the different polls that I was watching, how they've changed, all this other stuff, and I never heard back. That was my favorite part. It's like, you're going to put that on me, and I go through all this effort, and the person was pleasant, effort to show you where I'm getting my sources from, and you're not even going to respond because, as I said, I am not a professional poll watcher, but I've been doing this for a long time. I've been watching polls for a long time, and even though I am not a professional poll watcher, I can tell you what pollsters do wrong.
And you get to opine on it, because that's what social media is. Imagine that.
Yeah. 100%.
So we went 15 minutes over into overtime.
Yes.
Sean, tell us, do you have anything up in particular coming for your Monday show? Which,
Friday.
by the way, that's
Friday.
right, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yeah.
That's right. So go to shrmedia.com
shrmedia.com or follow on X.
And you're listening right there. This is SHR Media, but specifically shrmedia.com, and listen to this guy's show tomorrow at
12 p.m. Pacific, 3 on the East Coast.
Bada bing.
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
And you can follow me on X. Just search Sackhead Sean. I'm supposed to have Kevin Dalton on tomorrow. Kevin Dalton is just a guy, not just a guy, but he's a person I follow on X who does amazing coverage of the state of California and what an absolute shit show it is. So I have him on tomorrow. He's supposed to join me from 12:20 to 12:40. So that'll be fun. And then the rest of the time it's just me being a jackass.
As well it should be. You know who, oh my God, can you imagine? You know who I would absolutely love to have on the show, but I'm not in his state, so he wouldn't do it. You might have a chance of doing it. Do you subscribe to Kevin Kiley's stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I follow Kevin Kiley all the time.
Okay. Kevin Kiley, for those who are not aware, is the biggest revelationist, one of the biggest pushback artists who still exists in the California, always spell it with a K, Assembly. I don't understand how he gets elected in that state. It's astounding, but he's one sharp cookie. Oh my God.
I'll tell you right now, there's more and more starting to show up. And that's something that I think is starting to scare Newsom too. I'll tell you right now, there's a gal I follow, a candidate, I should say, and she is running for the California Assembly District 13 out of San Joaquin Valley, essentially, San Joaquin County. Her name's Denise Aguilar. She's super cool. She's got tattoos all over, but she's getting a big following and she's getting a lot of support in Stockton, Modesto, places that are not even close to the cities themselves being conservative. And she's getting some support. And I actually think she has a shot. And then I'm going to absolutely right now make a prediction. Former LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva will be running for governor.
That would be way cool because it's the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors that were instrumental in pushing him out, because he said openly when he first got into the sheriff's department, he was a shill for the rest of them. But he finally decided that he was going to draw his line at Wuhan 19 crap. And after that, they decided, no bueno, you got to go, Joe. I'd love to see him back in. The other indicator, Gloria Romero, who, when the time was to, she tried, and I spoke to her when I was working at EVOX, she tried to eliminate pursuits in the state of California. So I had kind of an extensive conversation. Even Gloria Romero has said, hasta la bye-bye to the Democrats. Some shit might be changing.
I think you're seeing California kind of hit the bottom of its
yeah, it still has a long ways to go.
Yeah, but I think the people that actually pay taxes in the state are starting to get pissed. And I think that's something that's really really becoming prevalent. And I've said before, California is not going to be an overnight thing.
No.
These candidates who get in on the state and local levels, you have to be able to stay in for 8 to 12 years before you actually start seeing a viable change in the state. And it will, I think it can happen. Look, California used to be a conservative state. Republicans won it. Reagan ran away with it. Even though he's not necessarily a Republican, Schwarzenegger was still just governor, 12 years ago? You have some House of Representatives that are Republicans that are in the federal House, and you also have it. There's another dude, Elias, I think is his last name, on the state level. So it's there. It can be there, but you just people need to foster it, and it has to grow, and it's going to take a huge ground game, but I honestly think it could happen.
It's going to take a big push. It's going to take people actually going out to vote. But here's the thing that I want to caution everybody about before we go. Especially if you're a conservative, maybe even a libertarian, Republican, but you lean to the right. The American media maggots and all the Democrats, leftists, and the globalists are going to attempt to get you to stay at home for one of two very salient reasons. One is they're going to say that the election is so much in the can that you don't need to go to vote. It is a red wave. It is a tsunami and everything. We don't need your vote. Or it's going to be, you silly little conservative, you stupid little Republican. We have smashed and stomped you so badly. Sure, go ahead. Show up to vote, you puerile little twat. Won't do you any good because we have already won. One of those two things is what leftists are trying to convince you of right now, to stay away. Don't stay away. Get in there and vote.
Yep, I agree.
And with that, I wrap up the show. So tomorrow, 12 noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. It's SHR Shaun. And thank you.
That's hard.
I know it was difficult. I did it. Hey, look, no cue cards, just a Kleenex.
Thank you for having me, BZ. Always a blast, my friend.
It will be fun. Someday, if I'm anointed properly, and maybe I've used underarm deodorant or odorarm deodorant, however you want to say it.
One or the other.
I'll be invited onto the Edge of Liberty show, but probably not. Probably not not this year. It won't happen.
You got to be a jerk. What? You just got to be a jerk.
Me? No.
Yeah, every single time.
Yeah. Good order her. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelins Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the, where is it? SHR Media Network. You go to SHR Media, SHRmedia.com. Promotional consideration as per normal. Let's see if I have that. Oh, yeah, is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones and the Arrakis board, the Arctalk Blue, and of course by Pratt & Whitney engines featuring thrust. You can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes, about 50 feet that way, as opposed to 25 minutes and, 10 or 15 miles from the old studio in Sacramento, California. And thanks to everybody for listening live tonight. Thanks to Sackhead Shaun, I mean you, mister, for being on the show. We'll have him back again as multiple times as possible. I just made that up. Okay? So everybody,
I know.
God bless. Fine. Take care, everybody.
Quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.